welcome to another episode of Retro Gaming Corner. Today I just would like to do a couple of minute spotlight on a really cool peripheral for the Atari 2600 that I've been meaning to get around to, which is really cool. Some of you may know what it is already. It is called the Starpath Supercharger, otherwise known as the Arcadia Supercharger. And at some point they changed the name due to copyright or whatever. Basically, this is it here. It was a peripheral cartridge that you plugged into your Atari 2600 into the cartridge port, obviously, and it had a plug on the top that you would plug a cord into your tape player, cassette deck, whatever, to load the program from cassette into the memory of the peripheral supercharger. This really did, it really increased the RAM on it because, as you know, the Atari 2600 had very small amount of memory, like 128 bytes of RAM. The Starpath Supercharger increased it, I think it was like 49% fold, allowing obviously more memory and stuff to create better specialty compatible games, that had, higher resolution and more memory to add more levels or whatever. So let's just take a quick look of what I have in my collection on the Supercharger. Okay, what you're looking at here is Phaser Patrol, which is basically a game that came with the Supercharger. It was packed in, and it came in this big, thick box here. And if you notice that they were labeled with numbers on them, so this is obviously the number 1. And I picked this up many, many years ago. Box is a little beat up, but it's not too bad. And again, it came with Phaser Patrol, which was kind of like a Star Raiders type of game for the 2600 and Atari 800, but a little bit better. It was a fun game, and it had, different sectors that you can warp to and stuff. Again, like the Star Raiders game. And if you see here the picture, you obviously needed a cassette tape player, and you would plug that into your little Supercharger and plug that into your Atari 2600, and it would load it from tape. And it loaded it fairly quickly, considering. And, again, it came on cassettes and fairly cheap at the time to produce. A lot cheaper than cartridges. And this company was out of, I don't know where the Arcadia company is. I'll have to check that out and get back to you on that. But, it's, again, Phaser Patrol that came with it, the pack-in game, and it was a lot of fun, and you could basically have a more powerful Atari 2600. So let me just go through the games that I have. And again, this is the base one that comes with the Supercharger. And again, I'll open these up so you can see them in a minute. But again, that's Phaser Patrol with the Supercharger. Pretty cool artwork on the front, too. It's funny, it has an old sticker on there. I don't know if you could see. It says, "Pay less." $49.95. So I think that was a sticker at the old time when this came out. But again, that's Phaser Patrol there. And the next game that I found, I got a really good deal on it a few years back, I believe on eBay, which is a really, really great adventure game, RPG game, whatever you want to call it. That is fantastic, and it's Dragon Stomper for the Supercharger by Starpath. See how it says formerly Arcadia. They had to change the name, but look at the artwork on that. And this game lives up to the hype. It is a big game. This is listed as number 6 in the order, but basically, what a game. It's walking around collecting things and in my opinion, one of the earliest games that really, besides adventure, that really kicked off the genre. And I can't say any more about this game in that it's just a fantastic game to play. You had multiple choices down there that you could select. It's a little hard because of the color when looking at the back of the box's screen, but I'll show you the instructions to that. But again, another one that would load from tape. And this is complete with instructions. It's Dragon Stomper. Very, very fun game. Fantasy game. 3 separate multi-load game chapters. And it had inventories for your strength, gold, dexterity. And you could choose like to flee, fight, or employ magic. It had full screen interiors of shops, caves, and hospitals. I mean, again, look, you're talking 1982. So, I mean, it's amazing. Amazing game, way ahead of its time. Fantastic game to play today. And that's Dragon Stomper. And next up is a really bizarre game. I love, even if this game was horrible, I still love the box on this. And this is Escape from the Mind Master. And this is number 5 of a list of games that came out. And again, this is complete in box. Supercharger game. Escape from the Mind Master. But look at the artwork on that with the guy with his head, alien-like, with the brain, with the maze on the top. And that's a Starpath cassette game. And I'm sure you might be familiar with this game. It's like a 3D maze puzzle-like game. First-person graphics, 4 separate multi-load segments again. You know, you got maze maps, real-time clock, alien stalker that's trying to hunt you down, a direction indicator, and sliding force field obstacles. You would travel through this maze and solve these like puzzles and stuff while avoiding the monster after you. Really, really cool game. Fun to play, but again, awesome box artwork. And that is Escape from the Mind Master. So, and next up is Communist Mutants from Space, which is basically a, God, how do I categorize this? It's kind of like a mix of Galaxy and Space Invaders, but it's a very, very bizarre game with a big variety of things to do. You know, it has time warp, difficulty selections. There's a mutant mother in it, the game. Penetrating missile options, steerable missiles, has a high score indicator. Well, again, Communist Mutants from Space. Once again, look at the graphics on that. Really cool. Again, that is complete in box. Really fun to game. That is number 2. So basically, it was Phaser Patrol. Then it came this. Now, there's a couple games. This is all I have in my collection right now. I am working on getting other games. There's a couple more games I'll list at the end of this video that I do not have. I just haven't gotten around to getting them. But if you have the Harmony cart, it will load these ROMs. It will load these Supercharger ROMs so that you can play them with your Harmony cart, which is cool. So I have played on the Harmony cart for the 2600, the other games that are available for this. Another game that's fantastic and one of the best home arcade ports is Frogger for this, but it is very unattainable right now. It's pretty rare, and it's very, very expensive to buy Sahara to obtain a copy of that. I want to say it's going for $100 to $200 now, if you can find it. So, there you have it. Those are the various games I have. Communist Mutants from Space, Escape from the Mind Master, Dragon Stomper, and Phaser Patrol, which is the pack-in game for the Starpath Supercharger. Now I'll get the Supercharger out and show you what it looks like. I'll be right back. Okay, folks, I'm back. Again, I wanted to show you the Starpath Supercharger, what it looks like. Again, this is the Starpath Supercharger. It's got a nifty little handle on it here that you hold, that you plug it into your Atari 2600. And it tells you there, plug the Supercharger into the Atari VCS with power off. Then you plug the Supercharger cable in the earphone jack of your cassette player. And again, it has a wire that comes out, and it has a little plug here. And basically, I purchased this several years ago. You can get these online still, believe it or not. A little cheap tape player. I got this for like $4 or $5 at the time. And it works fine. and you just use the top and you plug it into the little headphone jack here, like so. Like that. Just plugs in there. And again, that plugs into the 2600, like so, and you fire it up. And of course, obviously, you want to put the tape in there. So you open that up. And these are the cartridges that come with it. Again, this was the pack-in one for Phaser Patrol. So it comes, and when you buy a game, they come in these little cassettes here. Phaser Patrol, and it's all this is a cassette, like an audio tape. And here's the game. And you basically load that in there. And then you fire it up, and then you rewind it, and hit play, and it loads it. Again, that's Phaser. So it's basically just an audio tape. Cassette tape, run of the mill. So, and then you get, obviously, your instructions, and in here, it says, it tells you why they changed from Arcadia to Starpath. It's a great name for a company, but now we've started a revolution, blah, blah, blah. So we need a name that could take home video games beyond. So it's kind of masking why they changed the name, but they give you a little note in the box here, which is interesting, because I didn't know this was in there. I forgot all about it. And when I take this out of here, it's got a nifty little catalog. I'll just show you some stuff here. How to play, that's the Phaser Patrol instruction booklet. Again, there it shows it plugged in, a little tape player, and how to rewind it, and then how to play Phaser Patrol, obviously, which is the pack-in game. So, really cool. And then, this is a catalog of the games that are coming out at the time. If I was to open this, I'll flip it to the back, and I'll show you what games. So if you notice here, you got Killer Satellites right there, which is basically a little bit like a Defender clone. And obviously Escape from the Mind Master, which I have, I explained. Dragon Stomper, which is what I explained. And then I'll be right back, folks. And then another game, Suicide Mission, which is basically an Asteroids type of ripoff. Again, these are two games I just have to pick up. Killer Satellites. And there's some other ones called Fireball and stuff. But that's just the catalog. And if you notice, they label them numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are a lot more came out after that. So that's just a little bit of a catalog there that came with it. And obviously a little business card here. That was a 90-day warranty. Open that up. And then if a cassette won't load, I apologize, there it is. It basically, if the cassette tape can't load on the quick side, slide B is the standard load side. Some cassette players may not load reliably on the quick side. If you have a problem, simply flip the tape over and use the B side, with volume and tone controls set to high or maximum. For best results, keep your cassette player several feet from your television during loading. Yeah, so basically, it gets all the sound signals from it to load the data or whatever. And it's just telling you if you're having trouble on the A side, flip it to the B side, which loads it a lot slower. So, but again, that's the Arcadia. Again, plugged in here, which plugs into there with the tape. And then you load it into your little cartridge to the Atari 2600. And I'll be back to show you the other games. Hi, folks, we're back. And again, I wanted to show you, I took out of the box Dragon Stomper. If you notice, again, standard cassette thing. Great graphics. Let me open this for you. And you'll see there's side A and side B. Like so. And again, this game, like I said, is one of my favorites. It's like an adventure RPG game, and it's loaded in 3 different sections, 1, 2, and 3. When you load it on the screen, it'll tell you to stop the tape. And then when you play it, get to a certain point, and then you'll load the next section in. So it's so big, it loads it into 3 different sections. And, the object of this game is to, you trek across the countryside, attain the power and magic you need to get into the village. You start with 400 gold pieces and a good deal of strength, dexterity, but not enough to take you across the bridge into the village. You have to fight the dragon's creatures, taking possession of the gold, spells, and weapons. Once you have enough, you can bargain with the guard at the bridge. But be careful, because each battle can cost you some of your strength. And when your strength is all gone, you're a dead dragon stomper. So again, these are randomly generated creatures that pop up across the map that attack you when you're playing this game. So it's a really cool game. And like I said, the load story 1 is the enchanted countryside and the oppressed village, and then the dragon's cave, which is the final. But if you notice, look, it shows you. You use your little Atari joystick to move in the different directions. To the right does something, straight up. To the left and bottom for selecting move, fight, use, and status. For selecting things. Pretty sophisticated for the time. And how much gold, strength, dexterity you have. So, definitely a precursor to a lot of RPG games. So, but one of my favorite games, and again, that's Dragon Stomper for the Starpath, formerly known as Arcadia. And we'll show you another game. Okay, the next game I wanted to delve in deeply is Escape from the Mine Master. And again, as you saw the box and everything, this one also came with a catalog. And this is interesting because this actually shows another game that came later after the other catalog, and that's Fireball, which is kind of like a breakout game on steroids. A lot of fun to use with your paddle. And Communist Mutants from Space, obviously, which I have up there. And Phaser Patrol, which came with it. But again, these are pack-in catalogs. Oh, I'm sorry, and there's more on the back. Killer Satellites, which you saw. And basically all the other games here that I already went over. So they added a 7th game when this catalog came out, which is Killer Satellites. And again, that's just the catalog that came with it. They all come with a 90-day limited warranty card. And why they changed the name, obviously. They probably had to do that legally. And also, here is your Escape from the Mine Master instruction booklet. Again, each one shows you how to load the tape. And again, you've been abducted, kidnapped, snatched in your sleep, right out of bed, right in your own hometown. Nobody can stop him. His protein beam made you glow like a Christmas tree. You never even woke up until now. You slowly awaken, surrounded by a giant wall, smooth as glass, blah, blah, blah. He looms above you, watching your every move. You must use your brain power to possess, not only to be able to solve the maze, but to preserve the honor of the human race. So again, it's a maze-like game where you run into these really cool puzzles. So again, that's Escape from the Mine Master, and again, I just love the artwork on that. So that's that game, folks, and one more I'll show you really quick. Okay, I'm back, and again, the final one here, Communist Mutants from Space. Again, I just opened up. It comes with the standard catalog. I'll not get into it. It's the same as the last one. And again, there's the cartridge. I mean, the cassette for Communist Mutants. If you notice here, there's an A and B side, obviously. So, and you can find these on eBay. It depends if you want them complete. Obviously, they're more expensive, or just a cassette. But depending on the rarity of them, like I said, the Frogger game, which I would love to own, is way up there in price for just the cassette alone, let alone the case and everything else. And that's Communist Mutants from Space. And the little instruction booklet. So I'll do quick gameplay footage of each of these, of just a few minutes to show you what they're all about. But really cool. It's a really fun shooter with different variants of things to do. So, again, that is Communist Mutants from Space. It's funny where they get the names for these things. So, I'll be back to show you some quick gameplay footage of these, folks.